Don't. If you resist, we're gonna have a problem.
Okay.
All right?
So I'm being detained right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not resist.
Please! I said my little sister!
What are you doing?
Get me out of this car!
On May 17, 2025, the silence of a Florida afternoon shattered under the wail of a police siren. A patrol unit in Saddlewood Lakes initiated a pursuit of a dark sedan moving with dangerous haste. The radar gun had locked the vehicle's speed at 55 miles per hour in a 40-mile-per-hour residential zone. Behind the wheel sat 20-year-old Jalen Cooper. In the back seat were her two younger sisters, Kaylee and Kayla. What began as a standard enforcement action for speeding was about to unravel into a chaotic display of non-compliance and psychological volatility. Cooper believed the encounter would result in a simple ticket. She was confident she could talk her way out of the infraction. This miscalculation would transform a roadside detention into a felony arrest record. The entire sequence, captured in high definition on police body cam, serves as a stark case study in how rapidly a traffic stop can deteriorate when authority is challenged. The officer approached the driver's side window with a standard professional demeanor. He informed Cooper of the speeding violation immediately. He stated clearly that she was doing 55 in a 40 zone. Cooper responded with feigned surprise. She repeated the numbers back to him. Her tone suggested she was unaware of her velocity. The officer apologized for the interruption to her day but requested her driver's license. This is the first critical friction point in the interaction. Cooper tapped her pockets and looked around the cabin. She told the officer she did not have it on her. She claimed she had left it at home. She asked if he could search it up. She provided her name and assured him the license was valid. She also confirmed she was the rightful owner of the car. The officer returned to his cruiser to run her information through the Florida Crime Information Center database. The computer screen told a different story than the driver. Jalen Cooper's license was not merely absent from her pocket. It was suspended. The officer now possessed evidence of a criminal offense, not just a civil traffic infraction. Under Florida Statute 322.34, driving without license or with a suspended license is an arrestable offense. The officer returned to Cooper's window with a changed tactical approach. He knew she had lied to him. He decided to give her one opportunity to correct the record. He asked if there was anything she wanted to tell him. He suggested they might have gotten off on the wrong foot. Cooper maintained her deception. She did not confess to the suspension. The officer decided to cut through the pretense. He told her they were going to start over. He demanded the truth because she had lied to him. Cooper attempted to interrupt, but the officer held the floor. He informed her she was not supposed to drive. He stated bluntly that she did not have a license. He laid out the immediate stakes. He told her she could go to jail right now. He offered a discretionary alternative to towing the car. He told her to call someone to pick up the vehicle. This was a significant courtesy. The officer could have legally impounded the car immediately. Instead, he gave her a chance to save the towing fees. The investigation then turned to her criminal history. The officer noted the car smelled like marijuana. He asked if she had ever been arrested before. Cooper replied with a definitive no. The officer pressed the question. He asked if she had ever been arrested as a juvenile. Cooper hesitated. She then admitted to an arrest when she was 16 or 17. This second contradiction damaged her credibility further. The officer asked if she had just lied to him again. Cooper tried to parse the semantics of the question. She argued that she thought he meant as an adult. The officer had heard enough. He had probable cause for the driving offense and reasonable suspicion that she was deceptive. He issued a lawful command. He told her to hang up the phone and step out of the car. This command is the legal pivot point of the entire video. In the Supreme Court case Pennsylvania v. Mims, the court ruled that an officer has the absolute authority to order a driver out of a vehicle during a lawful stop. This is a matter of officer safety and does not require probable cause of a new crime. Cooper refused to comply. She kept the phone to her ear. She told the person on the other end to come to her location. The officer repeated the order. He told her to step out of the car. Cooper ignored him. She told her friend on the phone to check her location. She was now actively obstructing the officer's duty. The officer opened the driver's door. He instructed her to leave the phone. He warned her clearly. He stated that if she resisted, they were going to have a problem. Cooper tried to use her passengers as leverage. She said she had kids in the car and needed to figure it out. The officer reached for her arm to physically remove her. Cooper pulled her arm away. She shouted for her best friend on the phone to call someone named Juke. This physical act of pulling away completed the elements for a charge of resisting arrest without violence. The officer told her to stop talking. He warned her that he decided her future right now. Cooper told the officer she respected him, yet she remained seated in the car. The officer informed her she was taking a ride to jail. Cooper seemed shocked. She asked why she was going to jail. The officer repeated the charge of driving without a license. Cooper then attempted to argue legal procedure. She claimed she should be detained and checked before getting in the car. She told the officer to relax. The officer grabbed her wrist again. Cooper screamed about her little sisters. She argued that there was only one officer present. She shouted that this was not how it goes. She was attempting to dictate the tactical parameters of her own arrest. The officer escalated his force to match her resistance. He told her not to tell him his job. He stated he was not playing this game. He pulled her from the vehicle. Cooper screamed that she was not going in the car. The situation devolved into a physical struggle on the roadside. The audio from the police arrest video captures the screams of the younger sisters in the back seat. The officer ordered Cooper to stand up. He shouted commands while she went to the ground. Cooper yelled that she was waiting on another officer. She refused to stand. She demanded a second unit to talk to her. The officer informed her she was resisting arrest. He radioed for a unit to slow it down, signaling the situation was physically contained but volatile. Cooper accused the officer of throwing her to the ground. She yelled that she had done nothing. The officer explained that she pulled away. He noted that it was all on tape. Cooper continued to shout instructions to her sisters. She told them to grab her purse. She yelled for her aunt to record the interaction. She warned the officer not to grab her. She repeated the phrase, "Do not grab me," multiple times. This denial of reality is common in these encounters. The subject resists physically while verbally claiming compliance. The officer forced her toward the patrol car. Cooper shouted that the officer was treating her like an animal. She demanded to know what would happen to her sisters. The officer assured her he had it covered. Once inside the patrol vehicle, the officer stepped away to check on the passengers. He adjusted Cooper's handcuffs after she complained they were too tight. He spoke to the younger girls with a calm, reassuring tone. He told them it was okay. He asked them to call their parents. He explained that their sister would be out later that night. This contrast in behavior demonstrates the officer's professional duality. He was forceful with the combative suspect but gentle with the innocent minors. Cooper, however, continued to argue from the back seat. She insisted that because the officer said someone could pick up the car, she should not be arrested. She failed to understand that the offer was a courtesy, not a binding contract that immunized her from the law. The situation inside the cruiser quickly turned into a traffic stop meltdown. Cooper began to exhibit erratic behavior. She vented her frustration to the backup officer who had arrived. She speculated that the arresting officer was on steroids. She claimed he was very irritated. She then shifted her focus to her own mental state. She began to stomp her feet violently against the floor of the vehicle. She screamed that she was a man. She told the officer he had a demon in there. She taunted him by asking if he was ready for the demon. She yelled that she was psycho and crazy. She claimed to be claustrophobic and demanded the air conditioning be turned up. The officer in the front seat attempted to placate her. He turned up the air conditioning. Cooper screamed that she did not feel it. She insulted the equipment. She asked if the air conditioning even worked in the back. She accused the officer of trying to kill her back there. She then launched into a tirade of insults. She used racial slurs and derogatory terms. She mocked the officer's salary. She claimed he probably made 50 grand a year. She stated that police were struggling financially. This verbal abuse is a common tactic used by arrestees to regain a sense of power in a situation where they have lost all control. Cooper then accused the officer of kicking her car. The officer corrected her immediately. He pointed out that if he kicked the car, it was on the outside. He noted that she was kicking the inside of the patrol vehicle. He warned her that damaging the interior would lead to further charges. Cooper ignored the warning. She demanded that her car be towed. She argued that as the owner, she should be allowed to let someone else drive it. She called the towing illegal. She then began a rhythmic chant. She yelled the phrase, "Get me there," dozens of times. She urged the officer to drive faster. She screamed that her mind was not right for this. The transport concluded with Cooper still screaming. She told the officer to show the video to the judge. She insisted that the court would see how irate she was. She claimed she was not like this before the officer pushed her. This attempt to shift the blame for her behavior onto the officer is a standard defense mechanism. She argued that the officer's actions caused her reaction. The video ends with a summary of the charges. Cooper faced counts for resisting arrest, driving with a suspended license, and making threats against a public official. The footage captures the entire arc from the initial lie to the final threats. From a legal standpoint, the case against Jalen Cooper is robust. The charge of driving with a suspended license is a strict liability offense. The state only needs to prove that she was driving and that her license was suspended. The body cam footage proves she was behind the wheel. The database record proves the suspension. Her admission that she did not have the card on her adds to the evidence of negligence. The charge of resisting arrest is supported by the video evidence of her refusal to exit the vehicle. Florida law is clear that a refusal to obey a lawful command constitutes resistance. Her physical pulling away during the handcuffing process elevates the resistance from passive to active. The most serious potential consequences stem from her behavior in the cruiser. Florida Statute 838.021 defines corruption by threat against a public servant. Cooper's statements about her family having money and her intent to prosecute could be interpreted as threats intended to influence the officer's performance of his duty. Her comments about the officer having a demon and her claims of being psycho could be used by the prosecution to argue she was a danger to the public. Additionally, her physical thrashing in the back seat could lead to charges of attempted criminal mischief if any damage was caused to the door panels or windows. The presence of the younger sisters adds a layer of complexity to the incident. Cooper claimed she was resisting to protect them. However, the law does not recognize this as a valid defense for obstructing an officer. The officers followed proper protocol by securing the driver first and then attending to the passengers. They allowed the children to contact guardians and waited until they were safe. Cooper's actions actually endangered her sisters more than the arrest itself. By escalating the situation to a physical use of force, she created a chaotic environment that was traumatic for the minors to witness. Her frantic commands for them to record the arrest placed them in the middle of a police operation. This incident also highlights the influence of social media on police interactions. Cooper's demand for her aunt to record the arrest suggests she believed the footage would exonerate her. She narrated her own arrest, shouting that she was doing nothing and that the officer was hurting her. This performative resistance is designed for an online audience. Keywords like "woman acts crazy during arrest" or "Karen gets arrested" often drive millions of views to these videos. Subjects often play to the camera, hoping to create a viral moment that will garner public sympathy. However, the unedited police body cam footage usually provides a counter-narrative that supports the officer's actions. The broader impact of this event is significant for Cooper. A conviction for resisting arrest can remain on a criminal record for life. It can affect future employment opportunities, housing applications, and educational prospects. The suspended license charge will likely result in further suspension of her driving privileges and significant fines. The impoundment of her vehicle will cost hundreds of dollars to resolve. The cumulative financial and legal burden of this one afternoon will likely follow her for years. It serves as a caution to other drivers. The cost of compliance is momentarily inconvenience. The cost of resistance is permanent damage to one's legal standing. The psychological unraveling in the police car raises questions about emotional regulation. Cooper admitted to being psycho and having demons. While these may have been hyperbolic expressions of anger, they indicate a lack of control. A driver who cannot handle the stress of a traffic stop without spiraling into a violent meltdown poses a risk to others on the road. The officer's decision to remove her from the driver's seat was validated by her subsequent behavior. If she reacts this way to a badge, how would she react to a civilian in a road rage incident? The state has a compelling interest in keeping volatile individuals away from the wheel. Ultimately, Jalen Cooper's arrest was a self-inflicted disaster. The initial speeding violation was a minor infraction. Even the suspended license could have been handled with a citation and a tow. It was the decision to lie, the decision to refuse a lawful order, and the decision to physically resist that escalated the situation. The video stands as an objective witness. It shows an officer doing his job and a citizen refusing to accept the consequences of her actions. It serves as a reminder that on the side of the road, the time for argument is never. The courtroom is the venue for defense. The street is the venue for compliance. As the police cruiser drove Jalen Cooper to the county jail, the neighborhood of Saddlewood Lakes returned to its quiet routine. The sisters were picked up by their parents. The car was towed to the impound lot, but the digital footprint of the arrest remains. The video will circulate on the internet, tagged with police arrest video and traffic stop meltdown, serving as entertainment for some and a lesson for others. It teaches the public that the authority of the state is not a negotiation. It teaches that the safety of passengers is best secured by the driver's cooperation. And it teaches that in the modern era, every action is recorded, every lie is documented, and every resistance is futile against the weight of the law. The officers involved in the stop demonstrated the necessary balance of force and compassion. They used the minimum force necessary to secure the arrest. They de-escalated when dealing with the innocent bystanders. They tolerated the verbal abuse without retaliation. This professionalism is the standard expected of law enforcement. Cooper's behavior, conversely, represents the breakdown of civic responsibility. Her entitlement and her refusal to follow rules created a dangerous situation for everyone involved. The lesson is clear. When the lights flash and the siren wails, the only smart play is to pull over, shut up, and listen. Anything else is a gamble with your freedom that the House is guaranteed to win. The narrative of Jalen Cooper is now just another file number in the county clerk's system. But for those who watch the footage, it is a vivid example of the consequences of defiance. It is a story of a young woman who thought she could write her own rules and found out the hard way that the law applies to everyone. It is a tragedy of errors, a comedy of resistance, and a documentary of a bad day gone worse. And it all started with a heavy foot on the gas pedal and a suspended license left at home. The road to jail is often paved with the refusal to simply step out of the car.